Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Jason Mackey's First 10, short version podcast, talking all things Pittsburgh sports, and a happy Friday to you. This is the special Q&A edition, my favorite one of the week. Thank you so much. Have some questions submitted on Twitter. We will get to them shortly. I have a couple things to talk about before that, but big win by the Penguins last night. Very impressed by Joel Blomqvist. A response game that the Penguins absolutely needed. The rookie looked excellent. I wrote a column on Pitt football about Pat Narduzzi. We'll talk about that briefly, but first, we want to remind you that this episode, as always, is brought to you by Edgar Snyder and Associates. If you're injured in an accident, you're probably wondering what's next. For over 40 years, Edgar Snyder and Associates has helped injury victims answer that question. Whether it's gathering evidence, collecting medical records, or dealing with insurance companies, Edgar Snyder and Associates has helped over 75,000 people handle what's next. Call 1-800-94-EDGAR or visit edgarsnyder.com for a free consultation. And remember, there's never a fee unless they get money for you. All right, last night in Detroit, I was very curious how the Penguins would respond. Terrible opening night loss. Not sure it could have gone worse, but it's also one of 82. Well, Joel Blomqvist was excellent. Excellent. Not perfect. Not that I'm expecting him to be on the road, his NHL debut, all this stuff, but he made the saves the Penguins needed him to make, and it kind of begs an interesting question. What do you do Saturday in Toronto? I'm not saying you supplant Tristan Jarry, period, but I might be tempted to start him. It's kind of weird to be starting a goaltender controversy in Game 3, but there was quite a disparity there. I might see what it looks like. And if you're poking the bear with Jarry, I'm totally okay with it. I don't think opening night was all on Jarry, not by any stretch. The Penguins were just bad all the way around, but I might see what the kid can do. We'll take a look. My Pitt column, just to get to that briefly, I'm intrigued, fascinated, something by Pitt's offense. And it's been that way the entire season. But the thing that's kind of been rolling around in my head is how it functions under Pat Narduzzi. Everybody thinks of this guy as this, defense first, dinosaur, loves to run the ball, whatever. Not so much. I mean, like any football coach, like any coach anywhere, Narduzzi wants to win. And however that happens. And right now, they're certainly being identified, not so much with defense, nothing against those guys, but with this offense. 522 yards per game. Spent some time yesterday. Went down to Pitt and asked Pat about this. It produced a fun response, and check that out in the column. But also just looking into some of these numbers, how they stack up historically. That's all in there as well. But basically, 2021 was kind of like the hallmark season for Pitt's offense. This group is on pace to blow that to smithereens. They're averaging more per play. They're not necessarily going to run more plays, but it's because they're scoring faster. Offensive touchdowns, they're on pace for over 70. I believe the number is 73. 7,000-yard season of offense. It's just been so darn good. And it's ironic that, it has really helped a defensive guy who was clearly in a tough spot after a 3-9 season, needing to make changes, needing to make substantive changes. And boy, has he gotten it right with Cade Bell. I really, really like what they've done. I like the way they spread the ball around. I don't think it's just Eli Holstein. I don't think it's just Desmond Reed. I'd like to see them use Desmond Reed maybe a little less this weekend, but we'll see. But yeah, anyway, my point is just Pat Narduzzi absolutely got it right. And hey, for a defense-first dinosaur, it's pretty good. All right, let's get to some of your questions. David Gross asked, what are some of the Pirates' biggest needs this offseason? Will they go into the free agent market to help solve some of them? David, I'm glad you brought this up. I think it's an interesting point with the Pirates right now. Relatively speaking, they don't have a ton of needs. Again, have to add that qualifier. But if I'm looking at the Pirates, and this is one of the reasons why I think I've talked about this on here, but doesn't matter, why I get frustrated, I think you all get frustrated about them not doing more to sort of change the process. They have some decent pieces in place. So if I'm looking at free agency and where I'm going to retool this offense, it starts with a premier bat. And it also starts with the amount of money, because that's not going to be cheap, right? They spent about $38 million last offseason. That was 6 free agent signings and 2 trades. They shouldn't have to fill as many holes. And so you can kind of go quality over quantity, I would think about. So my starting point there is a first baseman or an outfielder. I don't know, multi-year deal would be a target, upwards of $15 million, something like that. Somebody I can hit in the middle of my order and not worry about it. I know the OPS is going to be north of 800. and he's going to legitimately help my offense. It's not the only thing I do. I'd bring back Andrew McCutchen. That would be move number 2. And then I'd throw some dollars at the bullpen, maybe 2 relievers to bolster that. Now, I do think the relievers can be in a decent spot. Figure out Bednar and Holderman. Add Nicholas and Majinski in there. 2 signings. I like that group. I think there's some potential there. But we're basically talking about spending $38 million on 4 players. That's not terrible. If you can figure out what's going on with Ke'Bryan Hayes back. In that case, I'm fine with Isaiah Kiner Falefa, maybe Nick Gonzalez up the middle. Give me the first baseman plus Brian Reynolds or flip-flop them. Whatever, you're going to have O'Neill Cruz in center field. I'm counting on the new hitting group to figure out either Brian De La Cruz or Jack Sawinski, somebody in right field. You've got Joey Bart behind the plate with a pretty good starting rotation. I don't hate that. Thank you for the question, David. Appreciate that. What do we got? Fire Shelty, good handle. Any sense that Travis Williams and Bob Nutting are aware of the disappointment of bringing back the general manager and manager? Do they care that the fan base is disappointed and angry? This is an interesting one. We have not heard from Travis Williams or Bob Nutting. I don't know if we will. I certainly think we should. I think they deserve, fans deserve to hear from the people running the team, although they tend to push Ben Cherington out there more as the voice of baseball. Anyway, I would imagine they're aware. I also think it's a, maybe problem with the Pirates right now that they think they have the answers. They think that, this group is close. They think that they can figure it out. We'll probably disagree on this side of the fence. I know I disagree. Maybe the level of changes. I know a lot of people are arguing to see Cherington gone as well. Not being critical of fans, but I'm not sure those people maybe understand how much a GM touches. That being said, if they did it, I wouldn't sit here and say it would be crazy. I mean, the results aren't there. To me, it's, again, it's nothing personal with these guys, but they're not where they should be this far into a regime change. And to me, you have to say to your fans that more is expected. They say they care. Conversations I've had with them privately, they certainly seem to say and act the way you would want a front office to do. But their actions right now say otherwise. And I think that kind of ticks a lot of people off. All right, going to take a short break with our usual message from the Bradenton Area Convention and Visitors Bureau. We'll be back on the other side with more of your questions. Thanks for watching First 10. Stick with us.
Embrace the laid-back charm of island life while sinking your toes in the sand and discovering real, authentic Florida in the Bradenton area. Unspoiled beauty and pristine beaches, a vibrant waterfront downtown energized by local arts and culture, fresh Floridian cuisine with a flourish of rich history, and friendly locals ready to welcome you to this preserved paradise on Florida's Gulf Coast. Plan your visit today at BradentonGulfIslands.com.
Welcome back to First 10. I'm your host, Jason Mackey. We're here middle of the morning every day talking all things Pittsburgh sports, although, once again, it seems like the Pirates are an interesting topic of conversation for everybody. I don't know. I guess that's because of what I've been around, but feel free to switch and go away from that, folks, if you would like to. Hunter DeRoss asks, if the Pirates start off rough, do you believe Shelton will be on the hot seat? Maybe Don Kelly will step up. I mean, I'd like to say, yeah. Well, I don't like to see anybody lose their jobs, but you would think so. You would sort of assume that's the route they go. I don't know about Don Kelly, though. Not that I have anything. I think Don Kelly will manage in the major leagues, certainly. Probably be given consideration here. Again, the direction I expected them to go this offseason would be to fire Shelton and maybe give Don Kelly consideration. I think the thing working against Donnie may be that he's too close to what is going on right now. At the same time, I think Donnie's a really smart baseball man that has a respect by a lot of people, players, staffers, front office members, etc. So, yeah, I think he would absolutely be given consideration. And at this point, frankly, like if they start off rough, is he on the hot seat? What could we see over 20 games that would tell you? I mean, they're banking on 5 years of process here. So it's a little tough to maybe see them going away from something so early in the season. I'm not defending it. I'm the one that wrote they should not be satisfied with where they're at and should make the move now. I'm just trying to read the tea leaves and how they've acted so far. It's a little surprising. I had one more question I wanted to get to here, and allow me to flip through Twitter as we vamp for a second. But Angelo Pappas asks, why is Derek Shelton still here? Sort of the entire argument boiled down, right? What are we doing here? So I'm going to, very briefly, provide what I think can be the organization's reasoning, what they're thinking, why this theoretically could be a good thing. Again, I've prefaced it enough with my thoughts on the topic, which, again, are more, that a change should have happened, that they shouldn't accept where they're at. But I think they look at this and believe that Shelton can handle the process, understands the process, has sort of kept this group together, has been positive, understands baseball, understands what they're trying to do. Again, I'll interject, not something I totally agree with. I'm trying to explain the organization side. And maybe it is easier to keep someone like that who knows the minor league system, who knows all of the players, who knows what they're working on, what their faults are, et cetera, when a lot of these guys are going to be counted upon for success in 2025. Than it is to bring someone else here and have them, I don't know, establish a new voice, something like that. I stumble saying that because I think that would be a good thing. I think the new voice is exactly what they need. I think maybe not knowing some of what has happened prior could be a benefit. I think blank slating it could be good. But, if you look at this, there's everybody likes each other among the decision makers with the Pirates, right? Like Bob Nutting really likes Travis Williams. They really like Ben Cherington. Ben Cherington really likes Derek Shelton. I don't know if that's a blessing or a curse. You almost wish somebody would tick somebody off and then you'd make a move. But this should be happening. Something should be happening for the sake of mediocrity not being accepted, right? 76 wins in year 5 of a regime change, and they'll push back on saying any sort of rebuild started then. They believe it started in 2021. I don't care. You still cleaned house and went a completely different direction, traded a bunch of people. I'm sorry, it should be built back sooner and better. They don't believe that. They're the ones doing the building. I'm sure somebody who constructs a house thinks a lot that house is constructed appropriately. But then you have someone come in from the outside, you're like, well, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. And it takes somebody else, takes a new view to sort of understand what something is missing. And there's not really anybody to do that. There's not really anybody pushing back or arguing with these moves. I shouldn't say that. I'm sure they're arguing and debating internally. I don't think everything just gets passed off easily, but it is, again, it is amazing that everything's kind of getting rubber stamped and they're just running it back and chalking everything up to the hitting coach and the bullpen coach. But, I'm out of time. I can't solve that problem anymore. Thank you all so much for watching this. Busy day for me, heading over to Steelers, going to be going to Vegas this weekend. Looking forward to that for Steelers Raiders. Thank you all for tuning in every day. Fridays are always the Q&A portion of this. We'll try to get to some more maybe non-Pirates questions this week. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Make sure you like and subscribe. You can get all of this content and much more from our Post-Gazette team. I'll talk to you next week. Thanks for watching First 10, everybody.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.